Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for another episode of How Pastors Are Made. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Miles. I am the host of the show. In this show, we go through the good, the bad, the ugly, the ups and downs of becoming and being a pastor. Super excited today. I have Pastor Radford with me today. We're going to hop into some conversation. As far as I'm concerned, I've already been having a good time. We've been talking about mics and cameras and just all kinds of stuff that has nothing to do with today's episode. But before we hop into the episode, I want to say a few things. First of all, head over to milesbrownonline.com/HPAM. Join the newsletter, completely free. We throw a ton of good free stuff out there to you every week. And also, I need to let y'all know about this event called Speak Up Church, October 18th in Dallas, Texas. We'll be showing Christians how you can get paid just by telling your story, your testimony, sharing your expertise. We're going to show you how to increase your impact and your income. And for some of you, help you walk in your purpose. Super excited. But with that being said, let's hop into today's episode of How Pastors Are Made. We have Pastor Jesse. And what do you prefer to go by, actually?
Pastor J is what everybody calls me.
Pastor J. All right. We got Pastor J with us here today. You're in the Carolinas. Is that correct?
I'm actually in Northern Virginia.
Northern Virginia. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a few questions that I have to ask every single pastor. Question number one, could you just tell us a little bit about your upbringing?
I was born in Arkansas, Southern Arkansas University. Shout out to Hope, Arkansas. I am the oldest of two biological and 6 adopted boys. So there were 8 of us and 1 girl in the house, not all at the same time, but periodically. And when we say adopted, it wasn't legal adoption. They just came and they stayed. Our house was that house, one of my brothers, his dad died in a work-related accident, and mom just couldn't take it. And she got strung out on drugs. And so he came and he stayed. And we say, we joke, we say, your brothers when you forget whose drawers you're wearing. When you start wearing each other's drawers, you pretty much close right there. So that growing up like that, spent my life, grew up in Arkansas, went to school in Arkansas, went to college in Arkansas. Right out of college, got married, came here to Virginia with my wife. And we've been here for 25 years. 28 years. Excuse me. 28 years.
Okay. How do you like it up north? Because, I think Virginia is north to me. Some people may not. I call it north. It's cold.
I call it north. Yeah, when you get like 18 inches,
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's north. It's north. It has grown on me. I do miss Arkansas. I miss the pace. I've been even though I've been here for almost 30 years. There's just a pace that Arkansas has, the slow pace, that I long for. Hopefully one day when everything's said and done, we'll be able to move back because I got some land there. I hope to build.
Okay.
Yeah, in my retirement years.
That's all. Yeah. Okay, so every pastor has their own story, their own journey. Nobody's story is the same. I spoke to a couple ladies that are in ministry recently, some folks that were in the streets. One lady actually used to be a prostitute and a stripper. And I talked to some people that grew up in the church and they knew they wanted to be pastors since they were teens, right? Everybody's story is different. What is it that brought you to Jesus? What was life like for you then? And what drew you to say, I surrender, Jesus Christ is Lord?
It's a good question, man. Actually, I come from a long line of preachers. My grandfather would say that the temple was our inheritance. We say we from the tribe of Levi. My grandfather was a pastor. His father was a pastor. His father was a pastor. My dad still is pastoring. He's 70. He retired and came back. A smaller church asked him to pastor. So he came back and he's pastoring. And so my brother, 5 of my 8 brothers are pastoring and in ministry. And so I did grow up in the church, but and I was just talking to one of my friends recently. I saw the, I call it the seedy underbelly of
Yeah,
the church.
understood.
I saw it, and I just saw how my dad poured out and how it was not real well received. And I made up my mind, no, this is not what I'm going to do. Even though it had been prophesied, oh, you're going to preach, you're going to do this. I'm like, nah. My patented statement was, people would say, "Oh yeah, you gonna preach just like your daddy," because I am the third, so I'm my grandfather and my dad's namesake. And I said, "No, my eyes not that good. I can't see that far." So, um, I seeing that, I ran is, and my dad said this is my dad is he is to this day, um, great man. He's my hero. He said he never pushed. He never, said. He said, all I know is I gave you back to the Lord. He said, and whatever God does with that, that's to him. But I gave you back to the Lord. And he said, as because I wanted to know, I said, Dad, how do you know when you're called? If you're called, he said, when you can't do anything else. When you can't do anything else. That was there's a scripture in the New Testament where Paul says, he says, and I'm going to do the King James because that's how I remember it. He says, I must needs be preach. He said, I gotta preach. That's Paul says, I gotta preach. I must. So he was going to a place where it was not hospitable. He said, but I gotta go. My dad says, when you get to a place where you can't, he said, run as hard as you can until you can't run anymore. And that's what I did. I ran as hard and as long as I could, until I couldn't. I mean, I was, I tried to be. I wasn't getting paid, but I was practicing. I was a player. So I thought, from the Himalayas. I thought, I had to have somebody's daughter, man. And so just doing all of these things, and the thing about it was, as in the midst of doing all those things, that would be such a conviction that I'd ruin it for everybody else. So because I knew too much. I knew too much, and so in my running, um, I found myself running right back to it. And my brother and I, we're 18 months apart, and he's pastoring, and we actually acknowledged our call almost at the same time. I remember calling him from my dorm room one morning, like 4 o'clock in the morning. I was just weeping because I was this dream, kept having this vision, and at the end of the vision, God would always say, "Will you go for me?" And I wake up just in tears and just crying. I called my brother and I said, "I gotta preach," and he said, "Me too." And we actually preached our trial sermons within a month of each other. We tried to schedule it that way because by that time my dad had moved to pastor a church in Alabama, and so we figured, to make sure that, well, actually it was the same weekend. He did his on a Saturday. I did mine on a Sunday because it was just more advantageous for him and my family to come back. And so yeah, I started preaching. I say officially. I started preaching officially at 19. But we would play church. We play church all day. We look back and we said, we were so deprived. We had all this outdoors. We would take the cassette player. And we had two cassette players, and here's the ingenuity. And we would play one, and then record with the other, and we would overdub and then put the new stuff on it. So, to make it sound like we had a room full of people. So we were doing that. But I I don't have. I remember I used to ask, I want I want a story. Do I have a story? But my story simply is, I saw I I don't know. I say it's a gift. I saw the pain in others, and because I say I have a low threshold for pain. If it hurts you, then it's probably gonna hurt me, and we're not gonna do that. so, um, you know, I was very observant, I probably could have been a detective because I unravel stuff, I pull threads, and I just saw stuff, and I'm like, it just makes sense to love God. It just makes sense to love Jesus. It makes sense to surrender. You know, and I've seen some things. I've had some things happen. You know, one my one of my best friends in middle school. We were tightest. I mean, just thick. We would go. I'd spend the night at his house. He spent the night at my house. And one night, I was going over this just routine to go spend the night at his house. And my dad says, "You can't go." I'm like, "What's up? I mean, did I do something wrong?" And it was not an issue for me not to go. But he said that night you can't go. And he says, "I don't know why you can't go, but you can't go." And he came back to my room about 3 o'clock that morning with tears in his eyes. And my friend um, was in the hospital with a drug overdose. His older brother had just gotten out of jail, and for I guess for kicks, let's get the little kid high. And so he got high and never came out of that. I would love to say I wouldn't have done that, but that was my best friend. And things like that. My dad, he's like, I don't know why he can't go, but he had enough discernment to say, no, you can't go. You know, um, so many things what God has shown me and tapped me on my shoulder, like I did that, and I did that because I've got purpose for you. I've fallen, I, I've fallen asleep at the wheel and woke up in my driveway, foot still on the gas, foot still on the brake, drove 38 miles. Don't know how. I remember the last thing I remember was on the other side where I was going to school, and I was in front of my house with the car was still in drive. My foot was on the brake. To this day, I don't know. Things like that, God has kept me and shown me you there's a plan I have for you, and just obedience, seeing it, recognizing it, looking at others, having that discernment. Yeah, I said, it's just best to follow God.
Yeah, man. So you said something that really resonated with me. So there was a time when I would, before I got into public speaking, or actually one of the barriers for me to start speaking was thinking I didn't have a horror story. Like
Hmm.
I haven't been through enough dangerous situations. I wasn't living on
Yeah.
the streets, or I know where my parents are and they both love me and they're still married. And like I thought I didn't have a bad enough story, but there's a old rap song by a guy, he goes by The Truth.
Yes,
And the
sir.
chorus says, I don't got no horror story. God kept me at my youth. I give him all the glory. I
Yeah.
thought my story wouldn't flow, but now I know the blood of the lamb has saved my soul. And that's my testimony.
Wow.
And that
Yes, sir.
song there, it it really did something for me. It let me know that it's to have a testimony that God's been good to you. That's a good testimony too.
That's a great testimony. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's my story. I did not. I saw. I mean, I was approached. I remember where we lived. It was I-30, and during that time coming up, there was a real bad. I mean, drugs were being run through our area, I-30 through Hope, and this guy, I remember he approached me and he set it up. He said, "You're a pastor's kid. Nobody would suspect you." And he showed me this wad of money, man, that was so so big. He said, "If you just do," and I remember my friend, like, no, I'm not. I don't want to touch any of that. Having that experience with my friend, um, losing his life, that was enough for me. Like, no, we're not even gonna play with that. We're not even gonna play with that. Um, I did my dirt. I did my dirt. And mine was more on the physical side. Like I said, I just had to have somebody's daughter, man. I was just I was ate up with it. Um, But it was even then, like I said, I would the conviction of God, because I knew better, you know, would would it would ruin it for me, man. It's like, you know, after doing that, I just I wanted to honor God. And I don't think like you said, I don't think I should have to apologize for that, man.
Hmm.
Yeah, I believed him the first time. It's like I saw what he did, I believed it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good testimony. The testimony that I didn't live through the tragedy, and I didn't live through the struggle, and I didn't live through massive mistakes is something that people need. I was recently speaking for some kids that were, if they don't make a change, they are quickly on the way to jail. I'll put it that
Mhm,
way,
mhm, mhm.
very quickly. Like they have no rope left.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was needed for them is to see it was it was me and two other guys speaking. They needed to see that some people had been in the streets, had done all the stuff that they have done, want to do, and worse. And they also needed to see that you don't have to do that stuff at all.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they actually needed both sides of the equation and not just the person who's just like me, but also the person who is what I could strive to be. And what
Yes.
if I have children, my children can strive to be that also. So
Yeah.
don't feel bad that your testimony doesn't include a ton of doom and gloom because people need to know that your testimony doesn't have to include a ton of doom and gloom.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
People
sir.
need to know that you can actually live a good life. Like you can enjoy your life without the
Yes.
chaos.
Yes. I got saved. Be, my grandfather was preaching revival at our church, and I had because my grandparents they were staying with us. The routine was a little chaotic, and so my grandmother had put some Clorox bleach in a mason jar, a little mason jar we use for. And on my way out the door, it looked like water, and I just tossed it back. And I didn't, and everything you can imagine, it did. It burned. I mean, I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to die. And I remember putting my name in my best friend's Bible under deaths that night. And he was crying. I mean, it was, and I think to this day, I think I may, some of the throat issues I have may be because of that, because it was straight Clorox, um, and I I got saved there out of fear. I'll be honest, I got saved out of fear because I did not want to go to, did not want to go die and not have acknowledged Christ, because that was 9. I was 9, but I came to a knowledge when I was 17. I came to a knowledge when I was 17. Like, you know, yeah, he is God. He is God. Um, yeah, and so I did I did what I because I wanted to protect my dad. I was sneaky. I would go because we're so close to the Texas line. We're like I was like 32 miles from Texarkana, Texas, and so I'd go to Texarkana and do my dirt or whatever I thought I was doing over there, because I didn't want my daddy to look bad. I didn't want to bring that blowback on my daddy. And I would do those things, and even then God would keep me. It's like, and I say this, God has kept me. I would go to a club and trying to get in the club, and some of my friends, my classmates, what you doing here, Radford? I'm going to the club, man. You don't belong here, man. What you talking about, man? I pay my money. I'm going to the club. He took money out of his pocket. He said, "Here, go on. You don't belong here." I mean, that happened like multiple times. I'm like, did my daddy put you up to this? He said, "No, man. You said you just." He said you don't belong. It's like the community was like shielding me, and I remember that specifically. That night, I turned around. I was upset. I was like, man, and I left, and there were 3 shootings that night. 3 people got shot that night. I mean, and that has happened over and over and over again. And God was like, just tap me on, like, I did that, you know, because I got something for you, you know. And so my pursuit and my passion for God has just intensified coming from that because I've seen His hand at work, you know. Um, so yeah, yeah. Hope that answers
That's
your question.
yeah, that's I mean, that is a testimony right there. To be honest with you, that's a big
It kind of
testimony,
is,
and
yeah,
it's a testimony that I know a lot of people wish they had.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, a lot
yeah,
of people wish they had. I was going to go, but then something stopped me. Instead of
hmm,
I went and then I experienced.
yeah,
Um, so moving forward, after you get saved, you really come to the knowledge of Christ around 17, and you grow up in a family full of preachers.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you mind sharing some of the things that, like, what are some of the things that made you say, I don't want to do this?
Uh, Hearing my dad preach on just holy living. You know, it's a Baptist church, but my dad preached holiness. You know, but not in the sense of, you know, the holiness church. He just said, you know, honoring God with a holy lifestyle. And so he preached that. And so he would often preach against some of the vices, you know. Um, and I won't say preach against them, but he would always highlight these things don't honor God. And so um I remember seeing this old lady who was living with an older man. They weren't married, and he said, you know, and their thing was, I live on a fixed income, and my daddy said, well, who fixed it?
Uh,
That's the kind of stuff my dad talked. He's like he said, well, who fixed it? And so he preached it, and so my grandmother, you're gonna hear me. I quote my grandma. I have an old soul. You know, I know I'm looking older now, but I have an old soul because I stayed with my grandparents. Um, and I don't know if we'll talk about this later, but I stayed with my grandparents till I was ready for first grade because my dad was suffering from PTSD from Vietnam, and he was sleeping with his pistol cocked underneath his pillow. He saw some things that he just, you know, it messed him up, and so, you know, um, yeah, he saw kids strapped with grenades running toward his platoon, and either you have to kill them or they kill you. You know, they were terrified, and so he saw those things, and so it wasn't safe to stay home. And so, staying with my grandmother, I picked up a lot of her sayings, and so I'll always say my grandmother said. But after my dad would preach, and I remember this one older lady, she grabbed him in his collar, and she was just doing this. You know, how dare you talk? You know, talk about me. He said, I didn't talk about you. A hurt dog a holler. You know, and but I remember that so vividly, and he's just standing there, and you know, don't judge me. I was what 10, 12. I'm like, she hitting you in the head, hit her back. Man, that's messed up. You just telling the truth. And she just exposed the fact that truth hit her. And I'm like, no, no. If that's what this is, miss me with that, man. Miss me with that. You know, um, just we never knew that we were poor, you know. And my dad said, he said, we're not poor. We may be broke, we're not poor, you know. Um, Living off of, you know, just, you know, a church, you know, a pastor's salary. My mom taught school. It was tight. It was tight. It was tight a lot. And just those kind of things, initials like, no, I'm not for that, you know. Um, my dad, and I say there was a lot of stuff we saw, but I thank God that my dad was was one of the good ones. He's been approached. I've seen it. Like I said, that seedy underbelly, you know. Ladies, Pastor, I want to show you something. He said, well, hold on, let me get my wife and let me ask my wife if you can show it to me. And she, oh, Pastor, I've seen all that. I've seen all that. You know, he go over for visitation. He bring me, and they open the door, and they in a nightgown. Oh, I didn't know that you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I saw all. I'm like, no, no, because even though I wasn't saved yet, I knew you don't play. I knew you don't play, and just I did not want to be somebody who was playing like I saw a lot of people playing. So it just made me go in the opposite direction. You know, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a corporate lawyer. I really wanted to be. I really want to do corporate law. I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do.
So yeah, corporate law, you was trying to get to the money.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh, but that's cool though, and yeah, that's something I've learned. The way you talk about people playing, like you really shouldn't be doing that, but a lot of people do.
A
And if
lot of
you're
people
not
do.
careful, they'll get you caught up with what they're playing with. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
bad company, it will corrupt good character. Like that's not even you. That's not
Mm-mm.
it's not what you want to do. That's really not your character.
Exactly.
But the wrong characters around you, and now you're caught up too. And for me, one of the things that made me not want to be a pastor was um, I feel like there's a lack of grace for folks in ministry.
Come on. Come on.
I feel like there's a lack of grace unless you got one of those churches where they revere you as more than a man. Then because some of those pastors they can get away with anything with their congregation, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
only if you are.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you get to that point, but
Yeah.
it's only if you
And I
do that.
and I think even that is it may be even worse
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
because once the bottom falls out, the backlash of people who are disappointed. You know what I mean? Because they put Iran, in error, they put so much of their confidence and their trust in a man to
Yeah,
find out that he has fallen. Now they want to throw the baby and the bathwater out.
yeah,
I
yeah,
I think that's worse, and I love what and I adopt the philosophy of Paul when those I think the Greeks wanted to revere him as a god. He said, "Oh, don't do that."
yeah. Done that. Not me.
He
Mm-mm.
said, "Because once you figure out I'm not, you're gonna want to kill me."
Yeah,
You know, and so I have one of my thing is I am just, and I say it like this: I have a vernacular. I say I'm just booty butt ball naked raw. You know, it's just booty ball naked raw. I'm gonna tell you, and I say that to our congregation because I say I'm gonna tell you, I'd rather tell it to you before somebody else comes and tell it to you. So I'm transparent. So you asked the question. I'm transparent. You know, and I'm talking about a dead man. This dude don't live here no more. You know, so yeah, I was a garden tool. I listen. If it moved, I was trying to get it,
trying to catch it.
trying to catch it, and so, but I'm talking about a dead man. I don't mind. I
Yeah,
don't mind telling you that that's a part of my testimony. It's a part of who I used to be. That dude don't live here no more, and so I am open. Because again, that scripture in Revelations, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our
word
testimony.
of our testimony.
I'm telling you, if I'm quoting a whole lot. If I can help someone as I pass along, if I can cheer someone with a word or song, if I can help someone who's traveling wrong, then my living is not in vain. If I can do my duty as a Christian, if I can tell the message that the Master taught, then my living is not in vain. So if I've gone through something and dealt with something, then and if he's put me in this position and given me this assignment to be a shepherd of his people, then somewhere at some point that's got to play a part. Somebody's got to hear that, and I get more validation from those who hear me be honest and said that helped me to know that you deal with that. And that's the part. I say we're gonna barbecue some sacred cows.
Mm,
Because let's be honest, back in the day, the preacher wanted everybody to believe that they stuff didn't stink.
Mm,
And you said, that's a recipe for disaster. And I think, and you talked about just the unforgiving, the no grace, because of that um that moniker, that, and they wanted to put you on that pedestal, but nobody fought against going there. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Nobody
yeah,
fought like, no, don't put me there. Don't put me there. You know, um, and I think I learned that because I saw my dad do it. He's like, no, we're not doing that. Mm-mm. No, we're not doing that, because there was, and the church loved him. I remember the church loved him, and they wanted to do all this. He said, no, he said, we can't afford that as a church. We can't afford that right now. Let's don't do that. Church, like church anniversaries and stuff. And he's like, no, we can't afford that. We're trying to get a building. Well, no, don't do that. you know, don't do that. And so he that's I the more I live, the more I look at stuff, the more I look at my dad and like, you was a bad man, bad dude. I mean, just really, just solid, man. Just you know, he's someone I try to emulate. He's someone I try to. You know, I ask myself, what would Jesse Jr. do? What would he do? Now he's the same dude who he chipped his tooth, and he got a rusty file and tried to file it down because it was bothering him. You know, he, he, he's an old mountain dude. I say, you, I say, well, you seriously? That granted, he got two earned master's degrees. Dude is smart, but he just as country as the day is long, man. Just country for no reason. It's like, there's no reason you that country, man. There's no reason.
that's hilarious. Oh,
It's country for no reason, man. Yeah.
so growing up in the church, that provides you a level of education, especially with your dad being a pastor, your grandfather being a pastor. It provides you a level of education that other people just you can't get it like that anywhere else. You can't go to
Mm-hmm.
school and get that kind of education. But as far as actually becoming a preacher, one, was it important for you to go and like go to Bible college, theology school, or and two, what is it that actually made you want to finally say, I'm gonna go ahead and start not just saying Jesus Christ is Lord, but I'm gonna share this gospel message with somebody else.
It is important. I think especially now in the age we're in. I mean, you got ChatGPT, you got Copilot. Anybody want to know anything, they can ask. And I believe as a pastor, as a shepherd, you need to have a good grasp on the word of God. You need to be able to rightly divide that thing. Your theology's got to be uh, um, on point, because anybody can look up anything, and it's not just merely for that, but you ought to want to do it so that your message is sound, so that you're not dishonoring the word of God. You know, um, they used to say, "Well, she's shooting from the hip." No, you quit shooting from the hip, man. Study, get in that word, study. You know, I had. You're right. I had the benefit of. I would ear hustle. My dad would do this. My dad would do this for about the stretch of like 4 5 years. He and a group of preachers and pastors would come to the house, and maybe like on a Thursday, and they would sit. No, it was a weekend. It was Saturday, Friday. I'm sorry. They would sit and they would just talk the word. And I would, when everybody else is going to sleep, I would get over by the side of the couch, and I just ear hustle. I don't know why I was doing it, but I would just listen, and they would just talking and debating, and like, no, you got to show me that in the word. Where's that in the word? I mean, and they're going back and forth. I mean, till almost 3 o'clock in the morning. These guys, for a span of like 3 to 5 years, they would meet faithfully every Friday night and would discuss the word. Okay, what is, and he say that, what is God saying to you? What is God saying to you? And they would just talk. Here's what I've been studying. Here's what I've been, and they would help with each other with sermon prep and all that kind of stuff. And so as they're going, I remember those things, man. But at the same time, I knew I needed to get to have my tools sharpened. So I have my master's in Christian counseling. I've gone through the theology, school. I'm thinking about going back to get my doctorate. But I have to be able to know to handle this word because it has the ability to change lives, man. It has the ability to change lives. And so why would I not want to rightly divide it? Why would I want to risk putting my interpretation on this thing? Because now I'm going to be held responsible for that. And again, remember I told you I got a low threshold for pain.
Low threshold. You messing with that.
I got a low threshold for pain because God gonna look at me like, why are you over here howling at the moon? Oh, you told him that? Nuh-uh. No. Mm-mm. So it is it's very important. You have to, and I'm finding there are a lot of people who, and I use super spiritual. They want the flashy stuff, but they don't want to do the hard work like study. You want to come and tie my bow tie. You want to kickstart my new Honda. You 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 want to ride my new Kawasaki, but you don't want to study. By the way, that was a tongue. Those are tongues. I don't know if you knew that.
I got you.
But you don't want to study. You want all the flash and all the sensationalism, but that's not going to help you when the devil's beating you across your head at 3 o'clock in the morning. You need that word. He said, "Thy word have I hid in my heart that I might not sin against you." At the entrance of your word, there's light. His word. He honors his word above his own name. So why is it an afterthought? Why is it a something that a chore? Man, I'm serious. I've been reading Proverbs since I was 17 years old. I read today's the 24th. I read Proverbs 24 today. I got something new today from Proverbs 24, and I've been reading it since I was 17 years old. It's a living word, which means it breathes. So if you see me breathing at any point, my chest will expand and it'll deflate. And so depending on when you see me, you're going to see my chest at a different stage. When you look into that word, you're going to see it at a different place. You're going to be at a different place. The one of the scriptures that just blows my mind. The angels, they've been since eternity, had been crying, holy, holy, holy. And I heard one of my mentors he said, because God is such a multifaceted God, he's like a diamond that since eternity, for all eternity, they're looking at him and they're seeing something new every time. And they're going, holy, holy, holy. Because they're seeing something new every time. We have the ability to get into his word. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I
You're
love the
good.
word of God, man.
Yeah.
I do. It changes lives. It has changed my life, and I know I've seen it. I've seen what the power of God's word will do with, to a life that is surrendered to that, And so,
Yeah, my dad, I mean, I remember when my dad graduated high school because he didn't graduate as a teen. He was 30 something years old before he got his high school diploma.
mhm.
Um, but I'll see my dad in his word,
Yeah,
5 o'clock in the morning.
come on. Yes,
He's
sir.
in there. By 7 in the morning, prayer time.
Yes, sir.
And like that's it's not weird to wake up early in the morning and see my dad studying,
Yes, sir.
reading, like just in search of not only knowledge and information, but also just spending time with God and soaking up his wisdom and allowing the pages to read back to him, not just him
Yeah,
reading the pages.
yeah, yeah. My dad says, he says, when it comes to study, son, you don't go to the word to find a sermon. you go to the word to find God. And when you find God, he'll give you a word. I was like, man, because I remember this. I laugh at myself. I had I called a Cole Brown moment. You familiar with Martin?
Yeah.
Greatest show on the planet.
Oh, I don't know about that part, but it's definitely one of the funnier
Would you
ones for
say?
sure.
Would you say what's greater than Martin?
A greater. I mean, I didn't expect to go here, but
Comedy,
shows that are better than Martin. First of
comedy.
all, The Fresh Prince is a better show than Martin, and also The Cosby Show is a better show than Martin, and
That's a
A
different. That's
Different
a
World is a better show than Martin.
see you trying to compare apples and oranges.
They're
Cosby
all comedy
was
shows.
a different. That's a different level
Hilarious
though.
shows.
That was a different, but that's a different level though. That's the equivalent of a Maserati and a Volt. You can't compare the two, man. But anyway, anyway, I had a Cole Brown moment. Cole, you stupid. Like I remember saying out loud because I had preached, and that was a gift that God gave me when I started preaching. I hit the ground running. I was preaching almost every weekend somewhere. So I got I got exposure. I got opportunity quick. I know preachers when they started preaching, they didn't preach another sermon until 2 years after their trial sermon. I was preaching everywhere, you know. And I remember I got to a place I was preaching the parables. I said, "Ain't nothing else to preach." I remember saying that, and I remember recently I said, "God, thank you for not clowning me when I said that." But that I was doing the best I could on the level that I'm on. That's my definition uh, for excellence is doing the best you can on the level that you're on. That's
Like
excellent.
that.
That's doing the best you can on the level that you're on, and it's important. It's important that and that's where I was. That was the level that I was on. I was on the parable level at that time, and so now I look back. I'm like, man, dude, that was so foul, you know. But I thank God that He's gracious. Thank God for His grace, and that shows through how I minister to others, you know. Um, so yeah,
Yeah. So speaking of ministering to others, what is it that actually made you say, "All right, I'm going to start preaching now"? Like I'm actually going to step into the role of a minister. What pushed you to that?
I almost flunked out of school
Oh,
because God said He said it's time. And I was like, no, I said, no, I got to focus on school. I got to focus on school because I felt the responsibility because I was the oldest. So I had to set an example for my brothers. Like I got to get this right. I'm like, no, I got to go to school. And I remember God, when I say He said, it's not audible, but I in my spirit, it's almost like Color Purple to you do right by me. It's like he shut it down. He said, I've given you time and now it's time for you to live for me. Man, I was flunking lunch, bruh. I mean, I remember I was taking a tennis class. Man, I won awards in tennis in high school. I got a D in tennis, and it was. He said until you surrender, because he said I've given you opportunity, and he was taking me through a breaking. He was taking me through a breaking, and I remember this guy. And here's again, I'm just talking with you right now. I'm like, I do have stories. There was this guy sitting in the cafeteria in college, all dressed in this long black trench coat, and was just by himself. And I was sitting there, and I was going through a breaking. I was like, Lord, what's going on? I felt like I was losing my mind, but it was because He was closing every door until you got one. Choose ye this day You had all these opportunities. You had all these. Now I'm taking away all these opportunities, and here's the way I want you to go. And this guy said, he came over to me. He said, "You're being broken." I said, "What?" He said, "God's breaking you." He said, your will is stronger than he is right now. He said, the more you fight, the more it's going to hurt. You need to surrender. Now this good. No. I would never have thought this. He's all black, you know, uh, cowboy hat. Come to find out, this dude had been preaching since he was 7 years old. You know, but down south, they do that. You know, especially the Pentecostal, you know, lesser melanated Pentecostal. They'll put them kids up early. He said he had been preaching tent revival since he was 7 years old. And so he says, hearing his story, he said, I've seen miracles. I've seen demons cast out. So have I. I have done that. He said, I've seen it. He said, and I've also seen the people prostitute my gift. This is him talking to me. He says, so when I see what's on you right now, he says, God has a plan for you. And right now you're fighting it. And that's why it's hurting you. He says, surrender to the plan. He says, this breaking will prepare you for the next breaking. He said, you go through series of breakings. Think about it. We coined the phrase, man fell into sin, right? We say he fell in the fall of Adam. Well, you got to think, where was he? He was in God. He was with God. And so that fall was a great fall. Think about it. Somebody falling off a roof of a building, two, 3-story building. When they fall, something's going to break. Something's going to break. And if you don't mend it well, it's going to grow. It's going to mend wrong. And how do they mend something that's been mended wrong? You got to re-break it. My wife has this pinky finger, and she looks real. She's an AKA, and she looks real proper because her pinky finger goes out like that. But the story is she forgot her key and was trying to climb through the window, and the window fell down on her finger. Well, she knew she was wrong, so she didn't tell her mom or dad. It was broken and it mended wrong. And the doctor said the only way I can straighten it is to break it again. God takes us through breakings because we mended wrong in some areas. There's some thinking we mended wrong. So God's got to break our mentality. He has to break, how we see and give and receive forgiveness. And so he says you this is a breaking you're going to have to go through, and it's going to prepare you for the next breaking and the next breaking. We go through series of breakings. And so that right there got me to the place where, you know what? Okay, God, I surrender. I surrendered. I remember there was this guy, he was plowing, and okay, I'm not that old. I just gray early. Don't get it twisted. But this guy was plowing behind a mule when we were little. And he was old time, he was plowing behind a mule, and he got too hot and he passed out. And the ambulance would come in and they say, don't move him, just put a shade over him. And so we had our umbrellas over him, and he's laying in the grass, in the dirt in the middle of the field. And he prophesies. He prophesies to me and my brother. He says, they call my dad Money. He said, Money, these your boys? He said, yes, sir, they are. He says, he looked at us. He says, y'all gonna preach. He pointed to my brother. He says, you gonna be a show enough preacher. Now, I don't know what a show enough preacher is, but my brother show enough can preach. My brother is old school. He's skilled with it, and he's saying something. He ain't just, ain't he all right? Ain't he? Okay, you just said he all right 12 times. We know he all right. Um, my brother really has a solid grasp of the word. He told me, he said, you gonna teach. And that's what I'm doing right now. I teach the word of God. I'm sorry, that's my dog. It's probably my wife coming in. But
It's all good.
those things are have helped me say, okay, I surrender. And it was a place of surrender. Because I knew it, because I heard it. And I said, okay, God, I take my hands off of it. Because I remember saying, but God, I'm just, I got places to go and people to do. You missed that, didn't you?
No, I caught it.
Oh, you go, okay, okay. But
Yeah.
that's where I was. My dad said this. He told my then girlfriend, now wife, he said, you know he gonna preach, right? He said, what are your intentions toward my son? That's what he said. What are your intentions to, usually that's the other way around. He asked my wife, he asked my girlfriend at the time, what are your intentions toward my son? He said, you know he gonna preach, right? And I heard that all my life. It just came down to surrendering it, to surrendering.
Yeah. So, first of all, what was your wife's response to that? He gonna preach. Because I'm guessing at the time you wasn't trying to do no preaching at that moment.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Um, she was like, she said, okay. Well, then if that's the case, then I guess I have to get used to being the first lady. That's what she said. That's what she said. Um, and she didn't fight it. And if I can just tell this, just, the hand of God. We came here. We graduated May 10th. We got married May 12th. We left that night coming up here to Virginia because I had a job interview. I'm a bivocational pastor. I teach second grade, and we got all of the money from the envelopes that night, and we said, we're gonna go and we'll stay and we'll see. When they get here, there's a hiring freeze because they hired more people than they had positions for. So I didn't even get the second interview. And so, but I knew God said Virginia. I knew he said Virginia. Genesis 12. Get thee out of thy father's house, out of the land of your kindred, to a land I will show you. And he says, I can't bless you. Because my dad pastored at that time, one of the largest churches in Hope, Arkansas. They bought a middle school campus on 2 city blocks, large campus. They bought it, paid for it in 3 years.
Wow.
Crazy. Crazy. The mayor went there. Several councilmen went there. So it was a large. I think he had like 1,000 people at that time. So I had a job. I was gonna go to Dallas Theological, and that was the plan. God says, I can't bless you the way I want to bless you in your daddy's house because you think he did it because of the connections. I can't bless you the way I want to bless you in your daddy's house. He says, I want to take out the middleman and show you what I can do. And so we left. And so I told my dad this. He says, as your pastor, I want to commend you for your great faith. He said, but as your dad, I want to tell you a fool. And I knew he said it because he loved me. Because all I had was the all I at that point was a second interview. Didn't have a job, but I had a word. Had a word. And we get here and we get the news that they're not hiring. So I said, I know what I heard. I know what I heard. And so we start putting out resumes everywhere, start sending out resumes everywhere. And so we get down to our last $100. Now, from Hope to Virginia is 1,100 miles. At that point, you could fill up your car with $20. them days ain't coming.
That's good times right there, man. Let
Good
me tell
times,
you.
man. Good times. So it cost us $82 to drive 1,100 miles. That's crazy. And so we got down to our last 100. And I said, I remember getting up that morning and having quiet time with God. I said, God, I guess I missed you because we don't have enough. Because the hotel was like $50 a night, and we were going back and forth. Super 8, Red Roof Inn, because they were having these price wars. $46, $45. So we were going back and forth. We get to a place called Charlottesville, which is like 120 miles away from where we were. And it's like we were crossing the street, crossing the road. My wife was talking to her dad um, on the phone and said, we're on our way back. And I told her, I said, the Lord said we got to go back. Now, granted, we done spent $20, so we got $80 left. It's going to be $50, $46 to get a room. After that, we're in the car. And I said, the Lord says, go, we got to go back. And she says, here's what she said. And this is why I love this woman so much. I drink her bath water with a gold plated crazy straw. She said, I'm going to follow you as you follow Christ. I pray that my son find somebody like that. I pray you find somebody like that.
Man, that's a blessing.
She said, I'm going to follow you as you follow Christ. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. It was a quiet ride on the way back.
I bet.
All I saw was the back of her head because she looking out the window. She said she was praying. And I appreciate that, and I need that. I don't know how we got turned around. We got turned around on this road, and we were driving into the Manassas. That's where I'm from another direction. And this sign says, "Where God guides, He provides." And I knew, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I know I'm where I'm supposed to be. I know where I'm supposed to be. And from that point on, my first pastorate was the first church we went to when we got here. It was like we could walk from the hotel. It was a storefront. We went there, and he had suffered asbestos poisoning, and so he was on oxygen, and he would say stuff like, "Come finish this sermon for me, Joshua." He couldn't finish the sermon. He would say, "Come finish this sermon for me, Joshua." Now, my name is Jesse, but he was speaking. He said, "Come finish this for me, Joshua." When he passes, I get elected interim, and then I become pastor. I pastored there for 3 years, and this again, series of breaking. This breaking was one of the toughest because there was an attack from within because they thought I was too young. I was 23. They thought I was too young, and they fought me. They fought me. They fought me, boy. They fought me. They would leave notes, for my wife to find, critiquing everything. And one day she got so mad, she got in the car and she left. I said, "Babe, you left me. I'm gonna get home. You left me." But it was hard. We said that was the backside of the desert. God, we were on the backside of the desert. God was training us because He said, "Are you going to still stand for me even when they don't want to see you?" Even when they don't. And that was the thing. And I developed a backbone there to say what needed to be said, regardless to how their faces looked. And I remember this guy, his name was George. And George, it was a family church. So, you make one mad, bruh.
You got everybody at you.
Got everybody. And George had married into the family. And George was a big guy, and he had this suit on, and he raised his hand, and the suit coat was like at his elbow. It was too small. And the Lord said to me, "He's outgrown his praise." He's outgrown his praise. He says, you're making a difference. Don't matter. And that calls your, in the scripture, calls your face to be like flint. Cause your face to be, don't let their threatenings, don't let what they don't like keep you from doing what God's called you to do. I developed a backbone there. I needed that. That was a breaking, you know. So
Yeah. He's outgrown his praise. That's crazy. So I got a few more things I want to get to because when you step into ministry, every pastor has their list of stories. Um, I am a minister. I'm not a pastor, so like my stories would be like some of my dad's stories right now. Because again, I to this day I don't want to be a pastor.
mhm,
You know,
mhm.
people say all the time you're going to be. I still don't want to be, even right now.
It's hard, man. It's hard. I
But
tell you,
I would like to know if you don't mind sharing, what would be some of those struggles that you dealt with as a pastor? Maybe one or two things that actually like brought you low, like this hurt, this like you call it, this was something that was really breaking you.
having to discipline someone that you have raised and brought up, you know, who got caught up in one of our musicians, and I he came. I remember him when he was 16, and now he's older, got married, but was doing things he shouldn't be doing with other folks' wives. And I knew the congregation was looking at me. What you gonna do? Like, we need music. What you gonna do? I said, no, he needs to sit down. He needs to sit down. He's not in a position to minister. He needs ministering. He needs to be ministered to. Sit down. And then we're gonna still pay his salary because his family didn't ask for that. His
Mm.
family didn't ask. So we're not gonna punish them because of what he did. But the thing was, pride. He didn't want to. I guess pride and embarrassment. He left, and that hurt. That hurt. It's like, dude. So you wanted me to just act like it didn't happen? That hurt. That was one. That was a hurting piece right there. Um, I don't do. I don't do. I don't know if this on matches the level of what you're talking about. I love hard. I love hard, and so I grieve hard. And so, my right hand, when the young minister, young pastor, he was like Jethro. He was like Jethro. And when he passed away, that that almost it almost took me out. That almost took me out because I was like, what am I gonna do now? But we had put so many things in place, you know, that God began to share with me. He says, instead of being broken up about him not being here, can you celebrate me that I placed him in your life?
Yeah.
You think about, and that's something I minister now. Out of all the billions of people in the world, I put him in your life.
Yeah.
Can you celebrate me? I know it hurts, but can you be grateful for the fact that he was assigned to you? Yeah, yeah, and yeah. Seeing my wife and I, we marriage, seeing marriages that's hard. You love both people. You love them both, and you have to. Your feelings don't matter when it comes to the truth. Your feelings don't matter when it comes to the truth. you know, and that juggling that, because again, I love hard, I sometimes, I have to, I don't know if it's step away, because I want you to succeed so much. And I had to learn, I can't want it better than you do. I can't want it more than you do. You know what I mean? And so those things, understanding, and I'll stop it here. Understanding that the only reason I'm in their life is because I have this assignment. We would not have met any other way. Our circles don't cross. The only place where we intersect is at the house of faith, the house of prayer. So if I become anything else than the shepherd that God has made me, I do you a disservice, because you didn't come here to be my friend.
That's a lot to deal with. You didn't come here to be my friend, and my job is not to be your friend,
Hello, hello.
even even though I want to be.
Even though I want to be, even though I want to be. Yes, Paul says, am I now your enemy for telling you the truth?
Mm.
Am I? So you hating on me now because I'm telling you the truth?
And let's be honest, yes.
Yes,
In some
yes,
cases, that's exactly, you
yes.
told the truth, and because you told the truth, and I didn't like the truth, I refuse to separate you from what I didn't like. So now I
Yeah,
just hate you.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
rough. It's a lot to deal with.
It is. It is. But here's the thing: the redeeming part of this, and I've told God about that. Like, God, this hurts. He says, if there's any of me in him or her, they'll see. It may take it may take a moment, but if there's any God in them, they'll see.
Yeah,
They'll see. This I just you got me thinking. It's hard to have friends as pastors, man.
man.
That's a weight. That's a weight.
Stay
And I
connected with me. Like, I can't say too much now,
yeah.
but you're not the only pastor. In fact, I was in Greenwood, Mississippi, doing an episode of How Pastors Are Made, and I asked the pastor, how does he deal with things? And he didn't mention a friend. He didn't mention a counselor. He don't. He was pretty clear. I don't go to nobody. I don't have a bunch of people that I give my burdens. It's me and God in this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all I can say is, when I'm done, pastors won't have to walk this walk as alone as I know many of you have.
I we have and I'm building it. We're building it. And I thank God I got a couple of brothers, a couple of fellow pastors who feel the same the way that I do. So I just hosted a monthly prayer luncheon with pastors, and there were like 12 pastors there. And sometimes I get frustrated because some people, they come with their pastor hat on, but this is a fellowship. I need to know who you are.
I need you to be a brother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You, pastor is your assignment. Your name is Steve. I
Come
need to,
on.
I need to talk to Steve. I need to talk to Steve. And I expressed it. I expressed my angst. I'm like, you come in here with these pretenses. This is not the place for it. This is not the place for it. I've invited you. We have our gathering here, and it's a good gathering. But then we go back to our own silos. I said, I've invited, and I got passionate. I said, I've invited you and your wife. Let's break bread together. Your wife and my wife. Let's come together. And you don't want to do that. That's how we gonna get to know each other. Now I've got two out of those 12 that we've gone and we've broke bread together, and our wives have gotten together, and so now we say we're iron men. Iron sharpens iron. Now I have one. I heard it said, If you can say you got more than one friend, you are a rich person. One true friend, you are a rich person. I said we are a fraternity, and we what we do is so unique that only somebody doing what we do can understand
Mm-hmm.
what we're going through.
It's
So
a
why?
crazy leadership position.
Yes, yes. So why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we take advantage of the cross pollination? You're at a place, you're at a stage. I'm at a stage. I'm at a stage, and we can help one another. We may not be under the same roof, but we're part of the body of Christ. It says the body fitly joined together, every joint supplies the need. I don't know what you can supply if I don't know who you are.
That's good.
So that would probably be the most painful thing of being a pastor is the loneliness. The loneliness, feeling like you're by yourself.
Yeah. I mean, and I can I I'm fortunate to have been able to speak with, more than one pastor.
Hmm.
And that's that's a trend. It's
Yeah.
it's it's not just you and those couple pastors. That's a trend throughout people who do this. And I think it's a trend of people who are in high level leadership positions
Hmm.
in general. And so the crazy thing is, if you're a pastor, whether your church has 5 members or 5,000, you're in the same leadership position.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And to a large degree, you're facing the same struggles.
Come on. Come on.
Now,
Yes,
granted,
sir.
a person with a much bigger following, they got some other struggles that come with that.
Hmm.
But like the core of what you do, it doesn't change based
It
on
doesn't. It
how many
doesn't.
people are there. So yeah, that's definitely something. Oh, where did our guest go? Well, that, my friends, was interesting. I was not expecting him to uh to drop off like that. Hopefully he let me get my phone. Yeah, hopefully he comes back in just a moment because I do have a couple more questions and I'll let you guys know what the next questions are. I want to know, and these are questions that I ask every single pastor. I want to know the things that makes him happy about his position as a pastor, as a leader. What he's learned that continues to push him. Like I had this experience and I'm willing to keep going because of this. And then I also want to know, what is he working on in the future? What does he want to accomplish? I can't speak for anybody, but I know that most pastors, they're actively working on things that bring them back to a not back, but that bring them a level of satisfaction that nothing else brings them. Right? Like the first pastor I spoke to, he was talking about his desire to have more men in the church. And there's what was that? Thumbs up thing? Okay. There's nothing that brings him satisfaction, that would bring him the ultimate satisfaction as accomplishing his goal. And his goal is just getting men discipled and training up somebody else to take over the church as he leaves. Because he's like, we need men. Okay, we got Pastor Jay coming right back. So yeah, we're about to ask him how he feels about that. All right. We see you coming back, sir.
I apologize. My phone died.
Oh, that's hilarious. I understand. It be like that sometimes. It be like that sometimes. But I was actually just letting people know that the next couple questions I'm going to ask you. So I'll go ahead and hop into it. So these are the last questions that I have. Question number one, because we've been through some of the things that keep you down. I want to know, what are the things that make you want to keep going? What are the things that you've enjoyed? What are the high moments and the rewards of being a pastor and being in leadership that you have enjoyed in the past or are enjoying now?
The same things that get me going as an educator. When people get it, I'm sorry, when something connects, you know, as a teacher, I teach second grade. Next year I'm moving down to First. Pray my strength in the Lord.
Yes, Lord.
Uh, um, but when they grasp it, when a concept has been has been you and you know they have it, you know what I'm saying? That's my alarm. Uh,
All right, take your time. It's all good. It's all good. Want me to play some music in the meantime?
I got it. To, to know that they got it, that a concept that a, a truth has been really taken to heart. That that's like hitting a golf ball solid down the fairway. you know that first you chasing that. I'm chasing that. I'm chasing that thing right there because they got it, and to know that that's gonna forever be a part of them for the rest of their life. You know, um, what keeps me going is to know that God, you're using me, to bring light and life to somebody. Like I said, the young man that I led to Christ, he was in my class, one of my first classes when I think my second year teaching. He was, and he was a problem child. He was a problem child, and we were at a community meeting, and we connected again, and we talked, and he got saved, and after that meeting, and we were at a coffee shop. I was at a coffee shop, and he came in with a friend. He says, "That's the dude who got me who got me saved." He was still new. He said, "That's the dude who saved me." No, I didn't save you. I led you to. I
Ah,
led you. I led you to the one who saved you. He says, "The dude with the hat, the preacher with the hat." And so, you know, just to know that, I'm being salt and light. That keeps me going. That keeps me going. You know.
okay.
Yeah.
And my next question is, what is something that you are actually um, looking forward to, or that you want to work towards, accomplish, see happen within your ministry?
Um, I want to see us get and acquire our own facility. Um, there was we had several people who were working. Um, we had a campus, and when the recession hit, a lot of people lost their jobs. And, if people if they're not working, then they're not sowing, they're not tithing, and so just getting back to that place we can have a place of our own. Got some things that we really want to do in the community. We would love to just have our own space, to have that place so that when I do step off the scene, that's already taken care of. I want to lead. I want this ministry to have a legacy, that goes beyond me. Um, 2 weeks ago, I named my successor. I already know. I mean, we already have been.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. He's been with us since he was 18. He's now in his late 30s, and just faithful and loves God, and his level of just dedication to God and his people is amazing. So it's a no brainer. Like, hey, this is the next one. And so, and I'm, learning that. I don't want to die in the pulpit. I don't want to die, you know, doing this. I think some people stay too long. I think they stay too long. And so we did that. We did. It wasn't expected. It wasn't planned. You know, it was part of, and I just said, okay, this is the time to say, this is the time to do it. And he's well received. People they love him. They love him. He's a son of the house, really. And so, it's going to be amazing. I think every effective leader should have a succession plan. You should it should already, and it should be in place. It should be in place. And I think it should be where you help with the transition of it, you know. And so that's that's something I want to do. I want to help secure our own space and help the next shepherd, have a smooth transition into this thing called pastoring.
I like that you said that. You're the second pastor to say that, and what I'm getting is that a good leader doesn't only lead people to the end of themselves.
Yeah,
You should
yeah.
be leading people to beyond wherever you stop. You should lead them to beyond where you are.
Beyond. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
I
Yes,
think
sir.
that's awesome, and I appreciate the heart behind that. To not want to sit around and hoard power, and
Yeah.
to actually have a that means that your heart really is towards the people. That
Yes,
means you
sir.
know that you can't keep serving the people, so you're like, how do I make sure somebody is here and ready to serve the people?
Exactly. There should not be a beat missed.
Absolutely,
Should not be a
absolutely.
beat missed. I mean, you see so many churches, go 2, 3, 4 years without a pastor because no one took the time to make that plan.
Yeah.
No,
And you got to make a plan. So,
you do.
um, the last thing I have for you, is there anything that you're working on, a book that you have, a project that's coming up, or just something that you would like to share with the people, or both?
Well, I finished a book for in the marketplace. I've been teaching for over 25 years. That's called Rebel Educator. It's out on Amazon right now. I'm actually looking to step out of the classroom and do more like what we're talking about, public speaking in schools and universities like that. Doing workshops and that kind of thing with school districts, training, helping those leaders, be all they can be. Um, I started my devotional book, and my wife helping my wife. She's doing a book on prayer. She's a real prayer warrior, you know, and she fine too, but she's a real prayer warrior.
Go ahead, give her a shout out, man.
Yes,
That's one thing I appreciate is pastors that are not afraid to love the gift that God gave them.
sir. My chocolate drop. That girl is shoot. Jesus. Hold on. Okay, I'm back now. I'm back. Yeah, she's she she's a prayer warrior. I mean, and so I'm gonna help push that and help her get that going. Um, we're celebrating 25 years. This is the year. This is our 25th year anniversary. So we're doing stuff throughout the year. We're doing stuff throughout the year. And we're going to end with a sneaker ball. You know,
Well, that's cool. I
uh,
want to come to the sneaker. I got some sneakers too.
dude. And my wife is a sneaker head, bro. She got shoes. I'm like, babe. So I just got her some those boxes you can put them in,
Oh yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and so she's getting ready to put those shoes in her boxes. Yeah, but we're gonna do a sneaker ball. We like I said, I told you last week the men went paintballing last week. We're just doing a lot of activities. We're gonna have a game night, just some things that we're gonna just do the things that are staples in our ministry is prayer, it's the word, and it's fellowship. It's prayer, the word, and the fellowship. And so there's a book that we read, our leadership read, called Sticky Church, and people are it's hard to leave when you're connected. It's hard to fall away when you're connected, and so we're looking to make it sticky to where it's difficult for you to fall away. And so that's through connection, that's through fellowship, that's through the our life groups and those kinds of things. So yeah, we're celebrating 25 years for the to the end of the year, because he's brought us that far.
Man, bless God, and congratulations for that. 25 years is a beautiful thing. I'm working to get there one day. I got to get to year one first, but
Man,
I believe that part's coming.
you don't do stuff, you don't do anything 25 years by accident. You don't do anything that long by accident.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's amazing. So, man, Pastor Jay, I want to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your story, your knowledge, your wisdom, and for being willing to be open. And just how pastors are made. I don't know if it's better for me, for the pastors, or for the people that are listening. I don't know who it serves more, but I truly appreciate you for what you share. It's always a learning, a growing experience for me, and
Amen.
I can't help but be honestly thankful for you.
Well, I pray something was said that was enlightening. You had me reminiscing, man, and just thinking, like again, like the whole thing about not having a tragic story, but I got a story. I got several
Absolutely.
stories, of him being a keeper, him being a sustainer. Yeah, yeah. So I appreciate you for that, man. Thank you. And man, this thing that you're doing, man, it's an awesome thing. It's an awesome thing, man. I pray your success, moving forward, man. It's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you, man. With that being said, let me even though I appreciate the prayers, for anybody watching, okay, you can do more than pray. You can donate, which we would
Yes.
appreciate. Because as much as I'm willing to do this virtually, I would much rather do this in person. Pastor Jay and I are miles and miles and states apart. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not close at all, but I would love to do this in person each and every time. So to any person that wants to see good Christian content, amazing Christian content, and I have other things that are coming together as well, go to milesbrownonline.com/HPAM. Scroll down to the bottom of the page, hit the donate button, give whatever the Lord puts on your heart. But we need donations in order to do the things that we're doing, to bring amazing stories from amazing pastors from all areas and walks of life from around the world, and bring them to you in amazing ways. I have more stuff that I want to do, some stuff that I'm going to have to tell Pastor Jay about off camera, but it is absolutely amazing. So if you are willing to donate, pretty please do that. And of course, as always, on that same page, milesbrownonline.com/HPAM, hit the button so you can join the newsletter. Real simple, and it's free. With that being said, I want to say once again, thank you so much, Pastor Jay, for your time. To everybody watching, I believe selfishness creates the world that we hate, but also believe that when we're intentional about the good that we do, we can create the world that we love. So find somebody and find a way to do something good. God bless you.
That's good, man. That's good.